You and me, one life shine is you and me, one love loving is you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living is you and me, one life shine is you and me, one love loving is you and me, 'cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out, I'm so happy. Just wanna shout. One life living is you and me, one life shine is you and me, one love loving is you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life, one life, one love, one life, one life, one love, one life, one life, one love. I'm shining from the inside out, I'm so happy. I just wanna shout. One life living is you and me, one life shine is you and me, one love loving is you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living is you and me, one life shine is you and me, one love loving is you and me, 'cause God is all there is. God is all there is. Good morning.
Living and loving and shining on this bright summer day. It's getting kind of steamy out there again, but we've had such a delightful, peaceful week this week. So we danced yesterday. We've been working on music, and here we are all together this morning. And it's always special when Reverend Colleen comes, and I've been checking with Travis. We're working on a potluck back there. If anyone wants to stay, we welcome you. There's going to be food. And so like right now, let's just greet each other, and we're so glad we're here.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. For my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful friends. Thank you for this life, Spirit. Thank you for this life. Thank you for this life, Spirit. Thank you for this life. Thank you for this life, Spirit. Thank you for this life.
Well, that was like the end of a prayer. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this life. It's a beautiful day, our friends. And here at Unity, we light the Christ candle. We shine from within, and we remember the prayer box. And the box is open to your prayers. Then we send them on to Silent Unity. I'm Jeannie McGee, and I'm, well, the church lady, really. But today, I'm wearing the prayer chaplain stole. And so I will be staying afterwards if anyone is needing prayer or counsel. And let's see. Today, our daily word is inner peace. I allow the peace of God to flow through me now. And let us say our statement of being together. Together, I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And so just a moment to quiet in prayer. Think on inner peace. The blessings of Reverend Colleen and everyone who's here today. Let us take a deep breath. No matter what was going through your head at about 10 o'clock this morning, if you were rushing to get here, whatever, just let it go. Let it go. Be open and willing and present to the welcoming community. And be curious what will transpire today. But in this moment, I feel a deep inner peace. When we're stressed in that busyness, I remember the peace of God is as close as my next thought. No matter what is happening around me, I choose to experience that peace. I remember, I go within. That is the truth. Finding peace requires no effort, only my permission to open. Just that, to open and be willing. I inhale peace now. It calms my thoughts. It relaxes my body. Just smooths out the feelings and emotions. With each breath, peace fills me and radiates from me. I continue to draw from this deep well of peace as I resume my daily life with renewed energy and a quickened awareness of infinite presence. I know I am grateful and willing, and so it is. Thank you.
I am the thinker who thinks the thought, changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought, I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought, I have the power to change my life. If you ask me who am I Thank you.
Welcome this morning, Reverend Colleen. So glad she's here with us. Oh, what do you think? Is she going to inspire us? Is she going to challenge us? So you never know. Come along for the Unity ride. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. God bless you.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, 1 being low. And I'm asking, and you can yell it out, you can close your eyes, you can do whatever, but how much happiness do you have in your life?
Oh, I gotta go 8. Anyone?
Is there anybody that's a 10 besides me? Okay.
You are a 10.
Okay.
Some moments.
Okay. What are you lacking to be happy? I bet you can come up with 3 or 4 things just that quick. But you know what? Now let me ask you another question before I ask you that one. What if, seriously, what if you hadn't found unity? What would your happiness quotient be then?
Well, that's a good one.
Very different, isn't it? I remember how miserable I was searching for truth. Raised in an environment where I was exposed to 4 different churches, at least 4, sometimes 5, sometimes 6, depending on what my girl chums talked about. Seeking truth. What if this church didn't exist? What if it didn't? Kind of scary, isn't it? And so, what if we began planting seeds? Well, the first one right out of the box is if we hire a dynamic, his or her minister that's full of vim and vigor, that's got the tools, knows the principles, understands the value of unity, and they'll grow it, right? That's the first thing out of the box. But what if there's one piece lacking for doing that? Because that's what everybody wants, me included. But what if the piece that's missing is the money it takes to do that? Can we do something about that? Well, yes, we can make contributions, and we can develop that chest, that love chest, to bring that about. But in the meantime, what else can we do?
We can find our voice. We've been kind of, several of us have been speaking,
Yeah.
sharing, find our voice.
Right. For years, I have heard, and I know it's true, that unity is the best kept secret in this country. Mark Hicks is a unity minister who's now living in the Northeast, and he does something called truthunity.org online. Find him and start reading his stuff. But Mark is convinced that we are moving into this new era, that for 1,000 years, the Catholic Church really had a hold on the world. 1,000 years. And that was primarily due to the Roman Empire. The second 1,000 years, the evangelicals have made huge waves. And you may not think that, but I agree with him, it's true. Had it not been for Luther, for sure, and John Wesley, and a few others, we would have still had an undiluted Catholic rule. And they did what they could with the best that they had, but they forgot to change. They forgot to look at evolution of our ancestry, of us, of the world, of spirituality, and all the rest of those words you already know. What Mark says is that metaphysical Christianity is coming into its own right now. It's evolving. And I could just imagine how many of my Unity peers would say, "Do what?" But look and listen to what's going on around us right now. Joel Osteen is watched faithfully by thousands on Sunday morning, and he's teaching a mix of metaphysical and traditional. Many, many others. Many people are changing their attitude about God. Many people are changing their belief systems. Some just say, that's not for me anymore. I can't go and sit and listen to that. And the truth be known, laity, which means you and me, no longer wants to sit in the pew. Laura was a good example of that for me at cornucopia service. She was just bubbling over with all that she wanted to share, and she's not afraid to share. Some of us are. But we want to share. We want to be able to make a difference. So what is happiness? Happy is being able to stand in your own power, understanding that stress and anxiety go with this third dimension. But you know you can stop it as well as start it. And so it's about empowering ourselves to come from love. And so how do we do that in this world with all the chaos and turmoil that's going on? How many of us have wanted to turn the TV off, the internet off, forget Facebook and all the rest of that stuff and say, I don't need that in my life? Me. I rarely turn the TV on. I don't watch the news. I get enough news that comes through my email. But in truth, we have something to offer. Leona Evans, Unity minister that was in Pensacola, Florida for quite some time, don't know where she is now, has written an essay, she calls it. It's a small book. And it's called Before It's Too Late. And it's free to download on Kindle or to read it on Kindle Cloud. And what she's talking about is instead of closing our eyes to what's going on in the world, instead of resisting, embrace it. She makes quite a case for nonviolent communications and for the work of Gandhi, for the work of Martin Luther King. And I haven't finished reading the entire thing, but every paragraph speaks to me about how important it is for us to, first of all, acknowledge those 5 steps of prayer. And what's the last one? What's the last step? You cheated. You wrote it. What's the last step of prayer? Okay. We start by recognizing our gratitude for the principles we have endorsed that are now leading our lives. And we go from that into What would you have me do, Lord? You know, my affirmation for years, so many years I can't remember when it started. Father, Mother, God, I am willing. Father, Mother, God, I am willing. I'm willing to go, to be, to do as led. And that has never misled me, ever. And it's led me into some amazing circumstances, amazing situations where now I'm in a group, I'm mixed in a group that says, what's different about you? There's something about you that attracts me. Or something like, when I grow up, I want to be just like you, that type of stuff. You know what it is? It's be the light that we are. So it's planting time. It's time for us to not leave it up to everybody else. Not say, well, there's church on Sunday morning, I'll go. I'll get something out of it, and I'll appreciate what's offered. But it's more than that. It's for us to put the emanations out there, to see this church filled, to see this church coming back into the grandeur that it had, not for the sake of grandeur, but because people need it and they're looking for it. They're fragmented, they're scattered. A lot of people go to church because it's all they know. But they're like me before I found meditation, and it was meditation that changed my life. That led me to unity, thank God. Meditation, medication, coming from the same root word meaning to heal. And so it is ours to be the laborers in the field doing the work. I have been pumping information at Jeannie and at Linda and maybe Travis and Bill and whoever I could to say, pull the troops together. Let's talk about this. Let's join and become of like mind, of one mind, to bring about the manifestation of the bigger dream that God has for this church. It has manifested some powerful ministers. One in particular comes to my mind is Bernard Dozier. Became president of the National Association and onward into the International. Still works in ministry in his own way, though he's retired and in Florida. But this is a light in this city, and it deserves our attention. And it's asking us to do more than pay lip service. It's asking us to live these principles that mean so much to us. Yale University offered a course in January of this year, and it was a psych course, kind of like Psych 101, but that wasn't the name of it. And in the first 3 days, 300 people signed up. The next 3 days, 300 more signed up. By the end of about 10 to 12 days, they had 1,200 people signed up for that course. They were shocked. You know what it was? This course was the psychology of happiness and the good life. That was the title. And Yale says, the faculty, like, first of all, the logistics of that meant they were having to change the location of where they were going to teach it, and ultimately wound up putting it in an opera-geared theater in order to house that many students. But what were they looking for? Those students had gone through high school stressed, anxious about college, what school to get into, working on grades, working on career choices, being pressured by family and teachers, you name it. Maybe athletics had been in their core, and that was taking up a lot of their time. What they shared back was they didn't have the good life. They had a lot of stress, and they were headed into a lot more. So I think we sometimes forget how good we have it. I think we take for granted this church is going to always be here. I say that it is. I say that it is. I say that we're all going to take something away from today to plant seeds for a bigger, better, more positive, more important approach to make sure that our footprint is global right here. Because this is the time for truth to evolve and grow, to let go of a punishing God, to let go of hell, to let go of the finger-pointing judgments, to let go of being less than a worm of the dust. We know that's not true, don't we? We know that. But how long did it take for us to get that information through and for it to meld into our soul? Self-esteem is still a major, major, major issue, and it was for those students. And they didn't have the formula for how to have the good life. This seems a little shocking, but it happened. In a small town, when a teenage girl discovered she was pregnant, they took her out of school, and this particular area offered tutors. And so this one mother who had daughters of her own was assigned to go and tutor these girls and help them get on through school. So this one day, this teenager, 16, 17, was bubbling over about how she and the baby's father were going to get married, and it's going to happen, and that's going to happen, and this is going to happen. This mother looked at her and said to her, I'm going to call her Emily, because that's the closest I can get to her name. Emily, and how are you going to live? Oh, he's got a job, and what does he make? And she said, well, it's part-time right now, but he makes $5 an hour. And she said, and how is that going to pay? And she enumerated utilities, housing costs, furniture, doctor bills, and all of that. And this young woman, in this era, this time frame, in the last 20 years, said, well, I hadn't thought about that. She said, and then there's food. You have to be able to buy groceries, and you're going to have a baby to buy for. And she said, oh, well, there's always food in the refrigerator. And she said, what? She said, I've never had to worry about food. It's always there in the refrigerator. She said, how does it get there? This young woman had never been exposed to what it takes to build a life, to build quality, a good life. About 2 years ago, this same mother and her daughter were in a shopping center in Philadelphia. And someone did this. Neither one of them knew her. So she went over and she hugged the mother, and she said, I want to thank you for what you did. And she said, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard, your face looks a little familiar, and her daughter didn't know her at all. She said, well, I am, and she gave her name, Emily, and she said, you remember when I got pregnant and the school sent you to tutor me? And she said, and you told me what it takes to live the good life? She said, I took that to heart. I went on, I got an education, I got a medical degree, I'm an OB person, and I'm happy for what you did for me. That seems so odd to us, doesn't it? That a young woman, 16, 17, would have this illusion about how things happen. You just get a job and it all comes together. Friends, that's exactly what's going on in our world today, is it not? That's what's going on. Kids are not, if they get an education, if they get a college degree, that guarantees it. Is that true? No, not anymore. Not anymore. This job situation has changed. And has anybody been flexing? Have parents been flexing with that? We have to a point. But this world calls for us to reinvent ourselves all of the time, to look at ourselves differently, to take time to plant the right kind of seeds. Affirmations. I've never really cared for a whole page of affirmations from the time I've been in Unity. I recognize my subconscious likes it better if I work with just 3 or 4. Just 3, and I've even simplified it from that. But I have worked to whittle away the inflexibility, the rigidity. They've got to be this way or that way. I'm still working on that because I recognize that I miss a lot of joy by being too rigid. Is that true for anybody else? Is that just me? Gardening is my love. I have one garden at home. I have a partial garden at Chuck's house. I have 2 gardens up at the lake. I have asparagus bed at his house and one up at the lake. But I love to dig in the dirt. And I go barefoot as much as I can because I believe in the earthing process. And I knew a while back, before I met up with a doctor and his wife over in Memphis, that someone graciously gifted me with this opportunity. I knew on the way over there that this doctor wasn't going to find anything significant wrong with me. Now, how did I know that? Because I asked. And as I was driving, eyes open, believe me. But as I was saying, okay, let me just ask you, sweet spirit, well, is there anything they're going to find? No, you're fine. Minor things, but that was it. And sure enough, when I met with the doctor and his wife, within 12 minutes, he said, amazing. For somebody 80, going on 80 at the time, he said, you don't have anything going on. He said, you're in amazing good health. My inside said, this is the real deal. This guy knows, this guy's tuned in. But what I learned from that interaction was some things I didn't know about. And what I learned from that was what to do to take care of that. And I had said, I've had a hearing loss almost all my life, since age 12, I know. And I bought it, that it was genetic, and therefore I couldn't change it. They corrected me on that, and they are correcting it. Will I always wear hearing aids? Probably. But do I have to go with the situation that I had where I was fearful of reaching a place where I shouldn't drive? No, I'm done with that. Anything can be changed. We have to be willing to have an open mind. And that was the one piece, this doctor who's an immunologist and his wife a nurse practitioner and works with scalar energy. That was the one thing that you have to have an open mind. So I'm having an open mind. I'm having an open heart. I know that one option, and I've thought about it a lot, one option is for me to jump back in here and see what we can do to stir up the gifts of God here and build this church, but it's not mine to do. It is not mine to do. If it were, remember what I said earlier? Father, Mother, God, I am willing. It's not mine. It's yours. It's ours to do that. To step out of our comfort zone, to say, what can I do as a volunteer or as a spokesperson for this church? Because you are the stakeholders. And I'm encouraging the board to send out mailings, to whatever they are guided to do. I defer to their guidance. But whatever it is that they want to do, to let people know, you have a choice. You have a choice. Let's come together and create the most dynamic, energetic, spiritual healing center that's ever been here. And I think they'll do it. I was thinking about, okay, you're lecturing this morning, but where's your stories? Where's your jokes? And I was meditating, and I flashed back to something that happened when I was maybe 10 or 11, pretty young. Mother gave me the job of cleaning up the peanut patch. Now, I lived right off the main street of town in this small town. Across the street was the post office and a row of stores. Then my dad's service station and shop. Then an empty lot, and then the house was next door to that. Well, Mother had 2 lots in garden, so she put peanuts in this patch between the shop and the house. And it was grown up. You could see the tops of the peanuts. You could see where they were. But there was plenty of crabgrass and all kinds of stuff in between the rows, and it was just overgrown, which was not like her, but she had her hands full with 5 kids. So this was my job, to go clean this peanut patch up. Oh, I didn't want to do that because it was so bad. But I got a sharpened hoe, and I went out there and I started digging, and wow, this big mass of crabgrass came right up. And I got the end of the first 2 rows sort of cleaned out, and I really liked what I saw, so that motivated me to keep going. Notice that word, motivate. So I kept going, and then I got all this grass out, but oh, it was so messy. Here's all these weeds and all this stuff in the rows. Well, okay. Mom said, clean out the peanut patch, okay? Well, I had seen my grandmother use her apron, and she took her apron and she'd pick up a whole bunch of veggies and take them into the house. But I didn't have an apron on. I didn't have an apron. Oh, okay. Well, I have on a petticoat. I'll just use the tail of my dress, so I did. I'm out there and I'm pulling this dress up, and I'm just like this, and I'm pulling all these weeds in, and I'm getting a big pile, and I'm walking, getting this out of the peanut patch. And after a while, I heard laughter. And then I saw Mother come out the door, and she pointed toward the post office, and I looked over, and here's this whole group of guys that used to sit on the bench, and they're standing there watching me as I pulled them. And then she came out, and she said, would you put the weeds back? I said, you told me to clean out the peanut patch. They said, yeah, but she said, put those back for mulch. So I did. And it was a bunch of it. But that helped the peanuts. That helped to bring about quite a harvest of peanuts that year. And so what we don't do is this. We don't should on ourselves, do we? No. Whatever we've done has been the best we could up till now. But now it's time to plant those seeds of what do I want for this church? What image am I holding? What am I willing to do? Create the image. Create the image and listen to your inner self. Listen to your voice. That voice within you will tell you what to do. You may call a neighbor 2 doors down. You may call your kids and say, go to church with me. Or come help me support this church that I love so dearly. Or whatever it is, just do it. Just do it. But hold the image. Hold the image. I've got an image of seeing this blue carpeting out from under these pews with laminated flooring down to bring this color into a more soothing combination here. It'll happen. I don't have to manipulate it to make it happen. It'll just happen. I'll contribute. Whoever else will contribute, we'll get it done. But it will show off this gorgeous mural in the back even better than what it does now. Planting seeds is important. I just planted my fall garden. They're all covered over. Nothing is up. Some of it won't be up for a couple of weeks. But plant seeds. Plant seeds for your happiness. If you're not at a 9 or a 10, you can be. Absolutely, you can be. If it's a health challenge, talk to me about it. If it's a happiness challenge on any level, I am open to being your buddy, your sounding board, your help. If you're dealing with a financial challenge, we can work with that too. It is ours to change and transform that. And we can do it. We don't have to wallow in dependency issues. We don't have to. We have the tools, affirmations and denials, meditation, the teachings. There's not a one here that's in Unity that doesn't have a Unity book. And actually, all it takes is just one. How many have I got? Probably 500. But it only takes one. Just one of those can change a life. Start giving your books off to others that say they're interested. Start looking at how you can be, quote, a Johnny Appleseed. Because that's what we're being asked to do, to help plant this seed that metaphysical Christianity is far more empowering, far more maturing, and far more where we're headed. And even though the chaos and the anger and all of that looks overwhelming out there in the world, that it is the darkest before the dawn. The dawn is coming. Do you not agree? So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you? How happy do you want to be? We know where the tools are. We know it's in here. It's listening to this. It's listening to the heart. You know, we have a brain in our head. We have a brain in our heart. We also have a brain in our stomach. And now I'm hearing we have a fourth brain. I haven't heard yet where they think that one is. But the idea is align and live that energy that you have. You know what the biggest regret is for people who are dying? You know what the biggest regret is?
I'm spending more time at work.
Good try. This was interesting for me because I study human nature as much as anything. Their biggest regret is that they didn't have the courage to take a step or to follow their heart. Courage. You have the courage. We have it. We know we're there for each other. And so it is. And that's the way it really is.
Y'all know the story of this orchid? Talking about planting time. This thing was left over in that window for dead. And I don't know, it could be because of Cherry's love. And you moved it. You gave it light and water. Yeah, and I don't, it started blooming this spring, and I'm going, oh my God, look at it. So if y'all ever wonder about, is Unity, are we always going to be here? I think, yeah, I think we are. I really, really do. I really believe that with all my heart. And thank you for, I'm willing. Come to the center. Come to our center. Come to your center. And we can do it. We can do it. So let us, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm in charge of this too today. So, okay. So it's now time for our offering. So if we could bring. Oh, okay. Were you supposed to do a song?
Yes, sir.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay. Well, okay. So we feel blessed to have had Colleen here. We know our community is blessed. Now let us give and let us say together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
If you wanna sing out, sing out. And if you wanna be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million things to be. You know that there are. And if you wanna live high, live high. And if you wanna live low, live low. 'Cause there's a million ways to go. You know that there are. You can do what you want. The opportunities are. And if you find a new way, you can do it today. You can make it all through. You can make it all through. See, it's easy. The only need and if you wanna say yes, say yes. And if you wanna say no, say no. There's a million ways to go. You know that there are. If you wanna be me. And if you wanna be you, be. 'Cause there's a million things to do. You know that there are. You can do what you want. The opportunities are. And if you find a new way, you can do it today. You can make it all true. And you can make it undo. See, it's easy. The only way you need to know. You wanna sing out, sing out. And if you wanna be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million things to be. You know that there are. You know that there are.
So, okay, we can be, right? What we want to be. Announcements. Well, we're moving into August. I've got the August lineup already. I'm blessed with that. We're going to have, first we're having Robert McMillan, and he has spoken before many times, and he's always very engaging. He's bringing a special musician as well. And then we've got Chris Johnson is next. And then Debris Tom, who's a friend of Paul Hasselbeck, a young woman though, and she's kind of, I think she's a ministerial student still, but she's been touring and speaking, and Paul highly recommended her. We've got it. And then Susan Julie will come back with Will, and Will Regar, her partner. They made a wonderful team that day. So we're good for that. And we do have Moving to Heal coming up again. It's Saturdays. It is Saturday morning. And of course, NBC and Oneness are on Tuesday evenings. And we think we had a success with what we did, so we're going to try it again the third Friday, and the songwriters group. So right now, that's what's going on in August. Can you believe school's going to start in 2 weeks for kids? Whoa, I bet they're sad. I'm not. I'm retired. Betty? Oh, it starts at 6, so we give, and it goes to 7:15, and then one is people start gathering at 7, and then they do it really at 7:30, right? This is their blessing, so, yes, there you go on that. But now, we are being active, believe it or not, in this church. We're working on some electric plans, and we've had some things, we're just really trying to clean some things up, and so our board president, Linda Strickland, wants to share with us what's going on. So, come on down, Linda, and tell us some of the things. And you want my mic?
I'll speak. Can you hear me? Okay, we're working on replacing side lights, the headlights.
The cans.
Yeah, and the sign lights. And we've also got some reflective paint to put on the curb areas, and that way so in the evening it might be a little easier to see where you enter the parking lot. So it's going to take time to do all this, and if you've got it in your heart, in your pocketbook, if you could share a little bit toward those costs, that would be wonderful. I know some of us on the board is putting in a tiny little sum that will help toward that. And of course, we're very grateful that we have a beautiful sound system now, thanks to Bill, Tam, Scott, and anybody else that's contributed to that effort. Another thing that's going on is that I've been working on insurance. And if nobody else knows what we pay Brotherhood $535.17 a month. That amounts to $6,422.04 a year. That's pretty big bucks. It really, really is. Friday, we finalized an agreement with Church Mutual, and we have a binder, so it's set in stone, that we are also going to have the same kind of coverage and go from a $2,500 deductible to a $1,000 deductible. We will also have earthquake coverage that we didn't have with the other policy. Our premium will go from $535 to $390.91. And that amounts to savings each month of $144.26, or $1,731 a year. And I think that's great. This is fertilizer for the seeds we are planting. You got it? You got it? You got it?
Well, I want to thank Linda because, several of us worked on it, but Linda had to make phone call after phone call and answer question after question. Something like this insurance business, it wasn't just like, oh, let's switch. It's really a lot of behind the scenes work, and I really appreciate what you did.
And two ladies started this. I don't get 99 and 9/10% of the credit. I only get maybe 85.
No, you didn't.
But believe me, and it is so helpful. And just to give you an idea, the past 2 months, we have, between the collections we've received each month and the outgo of just general expenses to make this place run, we've been running in the red. This will help cover the red. But we need to plant the seeds, like Colleen was talking, Reverend Colleen, so we can grow. I will tell you personally, if I did not have unity to come to and share with and love on, and that's true, love on, You know I love to give hugs,
Yes, you do.
and you're feeding me every week, and I think everybody else gets fed in their own way. It's a place to share. It's when you get an idea inside of you that just you want to bust out, that doesn't seem like people on the street's idea, which it may be, but you've got somebody to talk to about it. Somebody that's not going to judge you. Somebody that's going to look at you and help you understand what you receive, or help give you a big hurrah, a pat on the back, a big hug. That's what this means to me. I can share things with you guys that I could not share with people I worked with, or I was reluctant to share with them. It's very important that we have a forum to be able to bring out the spirit that is deep inside of us that needs expression. And when you go out of this building and you sometimes think how small we seem to be right now as far as people, remove that image and look at this place as being full. That's why we get around and hold our hands out to touch the spirits of those that will be here, not those that are absent. And when you come into the parking lot, visualize the whole back part is full, and that 3 or 4 people are coming in. We've got a seating capacity of 180, and we've got chairs lying across the side. People can sit on the floor, play their flute, and do whatever they want to that makes them feel good. Just like she was indicating, Miss Laura over here.
Just about to go.
Yeah, everybody just go. So we put fertilizer out today, we put seeds out today, and now we just need the flow of the water of spirit to make it grow. And if we see a negativity pop into our mind, we pluck that weed out and use it to help it grow more, because we're going to see the fruits of our labor. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay, let's get up. Let's get into this circle.
This is probably your last chance. I can't. Yeah.
Let us say together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.